All right, welcome kings and queens. We are here today in the palace. We appreciate y'all pulling up for this exclusive interview with Michelle Loud. Yes, Michelle Loud. And y'all, this is one hell of a story. And, as you know, in the palace, we advocate for women. And that's the only reason why I'm here today, because this story is so compelling. I'm going to risk it because it's worth the risk. And anytime there's a child involved, we got to get to the bottom of it. So today we are talking with Michelle Loud, the lady whose child was taken by TDJakes' daughter, Cora Jakes. Michelle, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. No, thank you for coming. I know this is it's a lot. It's a lot for you to be able to come out and share your story. I know you're up against a lot. Mm-hmm. What made you come today? What made you show up today?
I have to show up for my children. Period. Okay. And my whole fight is showing them how to stand up for yourself and how to stand on truth, or how people say stand on business. I felt it was important and it was necessary.
Okay.
I'm showing up.
And I'm sure there's a lot of women at home watching, probably rooting for you, because you're up against a giant. Mm-hmm. When you think of the likes of a TDJakes, the money, the power, the platform, and at any given moment, people could take you down, silence you. First of all, I just want to give you your flowers.
Thank you.
For holding a line for your child.
Yes.
And let me do some background before we jump right in, because I have a tendency to want to jump right in. How did you come to know Cora?
We met when I was 10 or 12 years old. I'll probably say 10. We were visiting the church, and my aunt decided that she wanted to join the church. So when she joined the church, we went to new members orientation, and I met her there. That's when the tents were outside. And then like a year or two later, we were visiting church still, but it was this lady by the name of Miss Jasmine, and they were doing like some type of program. I want to say it was an Easter program. I can't really remember. I want to say it was Easter. I know Beverly Crawford was a singer in the play.
Okay.
And they needed dancers. Mm-hmm. So somehow my mama worked it that I was able to dance at the Potter's house before we was a member. And then shortly after that, we joined. I met Cora again in new members orientation the Sunday we joined, and we just was friends since then.
Listen, the documentation that you were able to provide, and I'm talking about fact versus gossip, fact versus speculation, because I deal with facts. And a lot of people, I guess the buzzword, the millennials, the Gen Zs refer to it as receipts. You had some very strong, compelling receipts. And I know there was a gap in time between at one point that you and Cora did not, and that's TDJakes' daughter, that y'all did not have communication, I think for about 7 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. How did y'all come back together? Because what I was able to extract from the documentation is it was maybe you were in your third trimester, or were you okay. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about how she came to come back into your life.
Well, how we ended up getting reacquainted was during the pregnancy of Jason. I was going through a really, really, really hard time, a very low and vulnerable place in my life. I had pretty much lost everything that I worked so hard to get due to not wanting to be a snitch, not wanting to tell on someone else, and I ended up being the fall guy for it. What
was the repercussion of that when you say not wanting to be a snitch?
I went to jail.
Okay, gotcha.
I got a felony.
Gotcha.
And and so when that happened, I don't know if people know it or not, when you are a convicted felon, life it goes from being easy to very, very hard. Going from getting corporate America jobs to not even being able to get a job at CVS. Going from being able to get apartments in nice suburban areas to having to settle for, low income.
Yeah.
And that was a culture shock for me. I'm not making excuses about my choices and my decisions. I'm just saying where I was in life.
Yeah.
And even in that pregnancy, I was going through it with my child's father. We were on the outs or going on the outs. He decided that, he wanted to leave. But here I am pregnant, and we have other children.
Okay.
And so I was depressed. I'm entering into a phase of life that I've never experienced, that I've never been in. I felt very ashamed. I felt very hopeless. I felt alone. I felt discouraged. I felt, I felt like I was in such a place of darkness that I didn't even know when I was coming or going. I went from having my own to basically being homeless to, living out of hotels or living with friends and stuff like that. So, and I just needed help. I really did. I just needed help. And how we got reacquainted was I ended up moving back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I don't want to say exactly where in Dallas-Fort Worth.
No, you don't have to. Okay. Look, for safety reasons.
For
yes,
safety reasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I moved back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and when I moved back, I moved in with my sister originally. So I moved back with her, and then time goes, I'm getting bigger and bigger, and then I guess me and my
The baby's growing.
The baby's growing.
Yeah.
But I'm so shameful in this pregnancy. I don't want to be pregnant because of shame. People that know me personally know that I have a calling and I have a gift and I have favor and anointing on my life. So to see myself with 4 children, single, out of wedlock, mentally took a toll on me.
And was this, just so that I can clarify, was this mental shame? I mean, not in conjunction with mental, spiritual shame?
Both.
Both. Okay. Thank you.
Both. Because I'm a church girl.
Yeah.
I grew up in the church. I didn't just grow up at the Potter's house. I grew up in church. Like, my mom gave her life to Christ when I was pregnant in her belly. So when I literally grew up in church. So I'm a church girl. So it was more shameful than my first pregnancy.
Wow. And during this, let me just say this, because you touched on depression, and I don't think we do it enough when it comes to Black women, and the numbers, the droves of Black women that often score off the scale when it comes to anxiety, stress, depression, that suffer in silence, and the things that people don't know, that we don't talk about, and we put on our faces and we go out and we stand strong. But on the inside, we are crumbling. And it sounds like that when you and Cora reunited, you were in a very tough spot, mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Spiritually as well.
Spiritually as well. How were you able, did you contact her? Did she contact you?
I went to the church picnic. I'm gonna put a pin right there. Prior to going to the church picnic, we have a mutual friend named Ashley Williams. Ashley and Cora were still cool, even though me and Cora were not cool.
Why were y'all not cool? Just
because she was a liar.
Oh, okay.
See, this is before she was a master manipulator. She was a big liar. And she used to lie on me and Ashley and other friends all the time when she was the one actually doing the dirt, doing the mess. And she would lie on us to her parents to cover her. But in return, it would make us look bad.
Gotcha.
Right?
As the kids on the preacher's kids, you're her friends and a bad influence. Is that, am I getting that right?
We were the bad, although the difference between her and us is our mamas actually believed and enforced hope and inspiration, is what I like to call it.
Gotcha.
Y'all know what that is, put 2 and 2 together. Spare the rod, spoil the child. So our parents wasn't doing that. And so I had fear in my household. I'm not doing half the craziness that y'all doing. Now, I'll be your friend. I'll be your ride or die. I'll go with you. But I'm not doing it, you know. And
Gotcha.
she would make it as though we were the ones who were doing it. And it's like, no, this was your plan. This was your idea.
Oh,
this
wow.
is what you wanted to do. We just brought along so you wouldn't be by yourself doing it, you know.
And it was easy. Let me just from the outside looking in, I would think if I were a member of the church of the Potter's House, which TDJakes is the minister. For me, if I were a member of the church, I would easily believe, according to what you're sharing, that it probably was y'all versus the PK, the preacher's kids, the preacher's kids. So there was a little bit of history to the friendship.
I've been knowing her my whole entire life.
Wait a minute now.
Yes, of course. So the mutual friend Ashley, who is still my friend to this day, you know, during the course of me being pregnant, I because my mind was in such disarray, it was certain things that I would share to her and express to her, and maybe Cora would, you know, probably ask how I was doing and something like that. So she would then share, you know, she's pregnant, she's not dealing with it well, she doesn't want to be pregnant. And I believe Cora took me saying that I don't want to be pregnant and equated to me saying I don't want my baby. And those are two different
What gave you that
things.
impression?
Just looking back in hindsight, how she moved, how she, you know, went about manipulating me, went about coercing me, went about putting me under duress, how she moved, the things that she said, the things that she did, and then how she tried to put God in it.
I saw that from some very detailed documentation. And like I said, I'm an advocate for women, but at the same time, we have to have facts in order to come. And you had your facts and your documentation, right? We're talking black and white, was so substantial.
Because she did it.
I saw in writing from Cora to you that this was God's will for both you and her to be the mother of your child. Why do you feel like that she felt like it was God's will for her to be a mother to your child, in addition to you being a biological mama?
Because she's obsessed with having children. And it's not children. She's obsessed with having a baby. So we have to understand that a baby and a child, although they fall under the same diagram, it's two different things, right? A baby is a baby up until the baby is about 2, 3. Then they go into toddler years.
Yeah.
So then once they get to that age, the baby is of no use to her anymore. So then she goes out and seeks another victim. So I believe that she has an exception with babies because she cannot produce children.
And is that a scientific fact, or is that something that she shared with you?
That's scientific.
Okay.
She's barren.
Okay.
It's not because of PCOS, like she's put out to the world of infertility. Like she had an abortion, and that messed her up, and she cannot produce children.
And is that allegedly?
No.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say allegedly.
Okay.
Because sue me if I'm lying.
Okay. And we know some women do have issues with infertility, and that's one thing. But it's another thing to position, and as the streets would say, finesse another woman out of her baby. Do you feel like you were finessed out of your baby?
I feel like I was finessed. I know that I was spiritually manipulated and coerced and put under duress. I know that I was forced. But to circle back to how we reacquainted.
Okay.
We went to another church event, church picnic, and I know this one, it was around Easter time. And because of the exchanges of, conversation between Ashley and Cora already knew before we reacquainted that how I was feeling about this particular pregnancy.
That you were depressed? Mm-hmm. Just in a sunken place? Mm-hmm. In a place that you spiritually?
She knew I didn't want to be pregnant.
You did not want to be pregnant?
I did not want to be pregnant. It's a lot of women that get pregnant.
And I just want to clarify, just in case anybody tries to backdoor this conversation, this was your first pregnancy?
This is my fourth.
That was
pregnancy.
your fourth, because I want to make sure we put it all out there.
It was
so
my fourth pregnancy.
Okay.
I did not want to be pregnant, and I'm not ashamed to say that. It's a lot of women that get pregnant that don't want to be pregnant. It does not mean that I don't want my baby.
Yes.
It does not mean that I don't want to raise my child. It does not mean that I'm not capable of doing it. That just means, like, right now, pregnant, like, that's a lot. I don't want to be pregnant right now.
Yeah, and the fact that you have to justify that, to me, is asinine, because there are men that sometimes don't feel like they're ready to be a father. But when the baby comes, it's, okay, here we go. Here we go. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And you feel like, based on hindsight, do you feel like you were the perfect target?
I was the perfect target.
Oh, wow.
I was the perfect, because she even asked Ashley how I felt about adoption. And I was like, just because I don't want to be pregnant don't mean I want to give my baby up. But being there in that moment, you don't think nothing of it, right? You're
not going to think that your friend, who happens to be the daughter of one of the most prolific and prominent pastors, one that I followed devoutly, would take your child.
No.
And when I saw that story, I'm not going to say I had a conflict of interest, because I knew, I said, women don't lie. Most women would not make up a story about their child being taken, especially.
I could have just kept quiet.
Yeah.
Or not even kept quiet, because I've been speaking. I didn't have to put a name on it.
Or accepted money. Because I saw in your communication with Cora, there was a mention of Cora offering you money for your child. Is that true?
Yeah, she did. She offered me money, and then when I turned her down...
How much money are we talking? Hold on. How much money?
$5,000. That lady offered me $5,000 for my child.
Wait. She offered you $5,000 for your baby.
She did. And lied and tried to lie in court and said that she didn't.
Well, I saw the mention of it. I saw you and Cora communicating back and forth, and the documentation very detailed. She did not deny offering. Did you or not? She did not deny it. She said, let's allow the courts.
And kept repeating the same thing.
To handle it.
Like,
let's allow So she did not deny that there was an offer. I had $5,000.
$5,000.
The minimum average to adopt a child in the U.S. is $50,000.
A surrogate is $60,000.
And a surrogate is $60,000. And yet, as a single black woman that was going through depression, that was up against a lot, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally,
dealing with postpartum
your
depression,
baby was only worth
$5,000.
$5,000. What do you do with that?
Nothing.
What do you do with that?
Nothing.
As a victim?
First of all, he wasn't for sale. This is not slavery. This is not trafficking. This is a whole human being. This is my child. This is flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. And I knew that I was going through a rough time. I knew that I wasn't there physically, mentally, emotionally, but I also knew that I didn't want to give my child away. I just needed help getting out of this state that I was in. So
has that state ever been documented by a medical profession as?
Yes, when I was in the hospital, they give you a survey to see if you are dealing with postpartum depression after you have your baby.
Okay.
Cora was there. Cora knew the symptoms of postpartum depression. She said, Michelle, I think you have postpartum depression.
Cora identified
first. She let me know, and then she told the nurse. So when the nurse brought me back paperwork, it was postpartum depression paperwork.
Like an assessment.
Mm-hmm,
okay.
An assessment that I had to do.
Okay.
And once I got finished with the assessment, it says you have.
So you were deemed depression. To have been suffering with postpartum depression, which we can know could last years upon, and I'm going somewhere with this, years upon years within women. And also for those of you that are tuned in, when postpartum depression goes untreated in women, therapy, intensive therapy, outpatient meds, whatever that is, when it goes untreated, mothers are likely to be at high risk for substance use. Were you aware of that? Did they educate you on that?
No, because I didn't go to the correct therapy treatment.
Did they refer you? Who canceled it?
Cora.
What? Wait, how did Cora get involved in your...
She told me that she could counsel me because she was going through ministry school at the church.
That she was going to minister you?
She was going through ministry school, like she was in ministry school at the church.
And that she would counsel you.
And she could counsel me.
In place of a professional, licensed therapist.
Because I told her, like, I feel like I'm drowning. Because postpartum depression shows up in so many different ways.
Oh my gosh.
Some women have detachment issues. Some women kill themselves. Some women kill their babies. Some women, it's just a range of things. Do you have kids?
No.
Okay.
But that's okay. That's all right. I'm a stepmom.
Okay. Well, postpartum depression is not nothing to play with. Like,
it's a very serious matter.
It's not nothing to play with. And it shows up, like I said, in many different ways and factors in women. Some women are just emotional. Some women just can't get out of bed. Some women turn paranoid. Some women have detachment issues, like I said.
Do you remember what you were feeling?
I had emotional detachment, loneliness. Felt like the world was caving in on me. Everything was bigger than what it was. Every little thing was bigger than what it was.
So the doctor identified and diagnosed you as having symptoms of postpartum, if not...
No, I was diagnosed with postpartum
Okay, so you were diagnosed with postpartum depression, and Cora Jakes...
Cora identified it first and told the doctor.
Oh, wow.
Told the NICU doctor and told my nurse.
But then intercepted you seeing a therapist because she felt like she could cure you by way of her ministry.
I don't know if it's like she felt like she could cure me. I just felt like that was one of her manipulative tactics. I feel like she had a plan from the day Jason was born.
Right, because I don't. That's what I'm trying to get to. Because if she identified it within you, and the doctor said, "Yeah, you are," and they give you a diagnosis, a good friend would want you to get help, but instead, she offered to minister to you,
and did not offer those to counsel, not minister. Counsel is a difference. It's a difference. She offered to counsel me. I had Jason in May. She did not offer to counsel me until like that September
of
2014.
June, July, August, September, 4 or 5 months later. Did the Potter's House, TDJakes, the organization that the Potter's House, did they offer you any resources?
No.
Because I know they have a mental health. Nothing. Do you know if anybody else was made aware? You're a long-term member of this church since you were a little girl. Was anyone else made aware of what you were going through? And did anybody step in that you can recall?
Nobody stepped in.
They just let Cora run the show.
Yeah, but you have to also remember Cora's a liar and manipulator. So it's not telling what she's saying on the other end.
Would it be fair to say a lot of details were kept away from the Potter's House?
I believe so.
You believe so. Did any of her parents ever make contact with you during this big ordeal?
No.
I'm sorry, this is very disturbing.
No.
I'm gonna call a spade a spade.
No. And they knew that Cora was helping me with Jason because Jason would be at the church. Jason would come over to Bishop's house. So they knew.
Were you invited over to the house when your child was there? Were you allowed to go, or just your son?
I probably could have went.
Okay.
I didn't go because of history.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any conversations with either one of the parents, TDJakes or Sarita Jakes, about your child or what Cora was doing to you? Okay. Gotcha.
No.
Yeah.
No. A narcissist and a abuser isolates you.
And you feel like Cora is an abuser?
I feel like, yeah.
Okay.
No. She's a narcissistic person. She's a manipulative person. She knows how to connive her way to make things bend to how she wants it done.
Well, obviously, because she ended up taking your child, and hundreds and thousands of women are saying, oh my God, how did you manage to take her child?
Through help of, Faith Johnson.
Who is Faith Johnson?
Faith Johnson used to be a judge in...
and we want to say allegedly.
It's not allegedly. You can say allegedly.
I'm gonna say allegedly.
This is your show.
Okay, I'm gonna say allegedly.
But I'm not saying allegedly.
Okay, you can speak to your experience. Tell me what happened.
And I have documented proof.
You don't have to talk about everything, but if people say, what proof do you have that you feel like this judge helped this family?
She's on the paperwork. I have paperwork with her name on it.
Okay.
She is the person who Cora took me to relinquish my rights.
Was this in a courthouse?
No, this was at an office. At her office, Faith Johnson's office.
Were you aware that this was going to happen?
No, I was not aware that we were going to her office that day.
What did Cora tell you were going to go do? What did you agree to do?
We didn't. It wasn't a conversation. She was like, just take a ride with me.
What? Mm-hmm. So you get there and walk us through.
This part always makes me emotional.
Take your time.
Because I remember this day so vividly. It's imprinted and stamped in my mind. On the ride there, it was me, Cora, and Brandon.
Brandon. Who is Brandon?
Her ex-husband.
Okay, let me say this, because if it's who I think it is, this has been in public news. Mm-hmm. Brandon is Cora Jakes' ex-husband. Mm-hmm. Correct. Mm-hmm. Brandon was also accused of sexually assaulting a minor child.
Amari.
In Cora's home.
Yes, their daughter.
Okay, I wanted to make sure we're following, and this is public information. Mm-hmm. Got it.
I want to say Amari was in the court. I just can't remember. But on the way there, it was talks about how Michelle. Now, this is after they did the exorcism.
Whoa. Exorcism.
Oh, yeah, and this was after she cornered me in her office and told me that if I didn't give her my child, she would take him from me.
Let's back up.
Yeah. We got to back up. Before we get to that.
Okay, let's cover the exorcism and then take us back to the office. When was an exorcism performed on you, and how do you know it was an exorcism? Because I want these people to be extremely clear that you are aware now that you were manipulated and you were taken advantage of by some prominent people.
Prominent.
What'd you say?
Fucked up people.
Yeah. It is pretty. It's a pretty effed up story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one day at the church, and it was one of those services where the spirit really fell. And so everybody, I guess, was still in the spirit. And we left from church. Well, they had left before I did. And Cora always cooked on Sundays. So we'll go over to Cora's house to eat. And so I went over there, you know. Everybody else was already there, and I went over there. I get in. The furniture is moved.
So do you feel like this was planned? When you walk in, you be like, what the
now
hell?
I know that it was planned.
Okay.
Then I'm just like...
Because if you going in to eat dinner, what the hell is the furniture doing?
What's going on?
What
but I equated it to the spirit being heavy at church, so it just overflowed, right?
Gotcha.
And that was so strategic for her to do.
Why do you say that?
Because you take the service of Sunday.
Who was preaching that Sunday?
Bishop was preaching that Sunday.
Bishop TDJakes?
Yes.
Okay.
But he couldn't even preach. We had worship the whole Sunday. You see what I'm saying? And then from there, I go to Cora's house. And y'all, they're walking around speaking in tongues, praying and worship.
How many people were in that house?
Probably like 10.
Okay.
10 or 15 people.
So you get there to eat.
Yeah, I'm thinking we coming to eat. We didn't settle down, you know. I'm not in the
inner circle?
No, I'm not in the worship.
You done. You done left it where it was. You ready to eat.
Yeah, I'm ready to mingle and eat.
And I will be ready to eat too.
Yeah. So we I pull up, I come in, the furniture is moved. People are walking around speaking in tongues, clapping their hands, and I'm just looking like, okay, what's going on, you know?
You in there now, so you got to go with it.
Got to go in. Candles are lit. They have candles lit. Almost a feel of a seance. Very witchcrafty. And so I come in, and Cora is there ushering me in. So they had this plan for me. It wasn't for anybody else. This was for me. She brought down a prophet by the name of, I don't know if she's a prophet or a false prophet. Gaylena White from Chicago, Illinois. And they were all praying. They brought me to the middle of the circle. They were walking around me, and I believe Shema Kitchen was there. Brittany Hall was there. This lady by the name of Tiara was there. Mama Bernice was there, Brandon's mom, but she was there, but she wasn't out there. She was in the home, but she wasn't a part of the...
And let me ask you this before you go any further. Of all the people in the room, could we assume that they had good intentions, or maybe somebody did not know?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah. I really feel like nobody really knew what Cora was actually doing.
Got it.
But once y'all knew, y'all still stood beside her.
So in that moment,
that's why I hold y'all accountable.
Maybe they didn't know. They were just supporting her. But your thing is, once you caught on, if you caught on, when you claimed,
you knew,
and when you knew, how
if we're going to court fighting, then you know. I don't care what she tried to tell you before now. I don't care what she tried to show you. Common sense gonna tell you, because all of your friends, all of Cora's friends are mothers. See, that's the thing too. It's not one friend that Cora has that's not a mother. Not one.
All are mothers.
All are mothers, outside of Courtney. And Courtney is more Sarah's friend than she is Cora's friend. But everybody else is mothers. Everybody has children.
Why do you think so many black women would sit back and would sit back and watch this take place and not step in as a village, as a sisterhood? Do you think it's because of the weight of the name, TDJakes' daughter, or do you think it's just a conditioning of the church?
I think it's 3 components.
Okay.
I believe it's those 2. But I also believe that I want to just make sure I'm saying it right. So just give me a second. When you don't know, you don't know.
That's fair. That's grace. That's kindness. When you say they didn't know.
They didn't know.
When you don't know, they don't.
When you don't know, you don't know.
That's fair.
I'll give them that. What I won't give them is when they knew.
Has anybody reached out to you to ever apologize?
No.
Nobody. Nobody from the Jakes family.
No.
Has anybody acknowledged your pain, the wrongdoing of Cora?
First Lady did.
First Lady, Sarita Jakes? I got to hear this. What did she say?
We were at court.
Okay.
And she, this was after the mistrial, we went to trial twice. Mind you, I still have a gag order, but I don't care.
You're under, wait.
Yeah, the case is sealed. I'm not supposed to be talking about it.
Okay.
But this is how much I don't give a fuck.
But you have to tell people why, because you're fighting for who?
Because I'm fighting for my son. I'm fighting for my legacy. I'm fighting for my seed. I'm fighting for my child. I'm fighting for my flesh, my blood, my DNA, what came from me. And it's no court or no person that's going to make me be quiet about it. Sue me. Sue me. You know you can't, because if you do, it's going to open up a can of worms. So it's best I'm going to just let her talk, not knowing that it's getting bigger and bigger. Sue me. I don't care about a gag order. You also got me on an NDA. I don't care about none of that. My son is more important than a gag or an NDA. Other women who are experiencing or who have gone through what I'm going through, maybe not on this magnitude, but with the justice system, CPS, other family members that's taking their child, that's more important than me respecting a gag order. I'm not going to respect something I was forced to do.
Or coerced. Manipulated.
From the judges to the lawyers, everything, you know. But back to the people that were there, the spiritual ritual, exorcism, whatever people want to call it. I don't know. I just know it happened, and it happened to me. It's absolutely the weight. It's the friendship, the history, who it is.
Yeah.
And because they don't know. And also, if I'm being manipulated, you don't think they're being manipulated, or they were being manipulated?
Man, and I know recently your home was ramshacked, tore up. I read about that on a huge...
And it's a pending investigation on it.
Right now?
Absolutely. I absolutely filed a police report.
Was your door kicked in, or did they come in by...
I have pictures of footprints on my door, so you can literally see that somebody was kicking my door. My wood panel on the inside is cracked. The rubber is tore. When I say rubber, I don't know what it's called. But
just the ceiling of the door. We're not handymen, so
that's not my forte. I'm a mom.
So that's scary in and of itself. Mm-hmm. A mother of five, a mother of five, single mom. Mm-hmm. And to me...
Well, I don't know if I'm a single mom. I don't have deadbeat fathers. I don't have deadbeat baby daddies.
I love it.
A single mom in a sense of all my children stay with me.
Okay.
Not a single mom in a sense of I'm taking care of them by myself.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. I love it. Yes. Giving those men credit.
Yes, absolutely. Because they do what they're supposed to do and more. I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue. If I tell them I need something for the children, they make it happen. So
that's a positive.
None of my kids' dads are on child support.
Because we often hear so much negative connotation attached to Black families.
Yeah, that's because people don't understand that you don't have to be with a person to raise children.
Yeah.
Once you understand that ideology, that I do not have to be with you to raise children. Once you understand that we're always going to be a family, no matter if we're together or not, because we share blood, we share DNA, it makes the process smoother. Once you get out of the space of being worried about what they doing, who they with, and how they doing it, because at the end of the day, it's about the children and
so
what's
healthy
in the best
co-parenting.
interest. Healthy co-parenting.
Yeah. So listen, recently her home has been ramshacked. I saw that outside of speaking with you. I was very concerned for your safety. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I couldn't help but to think the worst. Like, are these people after this girl for fighting for her child?
They're after me for fighting for my child. They're after me for setting fire to the blaze. But y'all should be mad at yourself for touching the Ark of the Covenant. And I use that as a metaphor. The Bible says, touch not my prophet and do no harm, neither the heir.
Speak.
You not only touched me, but you touched my child, which is an heir. And I am a prophet. I do dreams. I do have dreams. I do get words and visions. And just because I'm not walking in my calling doesn't mean that the gift was taken.
Yeah.
Understand? So you touched me and you took my air and you're surprised about what's happening now.
Speaking of air.
That's crazy.
Speaking of air, let's get down to it. I read the NDA. I read an NDA that Cora Jakes had you to sign 2016. Am I correct? Let me give a timeline.
July.
Your baby was born in 2014.
2 months after he was born, she had me sign paperwork.
Maybe she had you. No, let me take that back. She had you sign it in 2015.
2015.
Okay, so your baby was born
right before Megafest.
In 2014. And listen, y'all, this ain't no hearsay. We talking facts. From the documentation that I saw, she had you sign an NDA as an employee in 2015. But let's back up. Cora identified you as being postpartum. Said you needed help. But a year later, have you to sign an NDA a year later, right? Because we know how long postpartum can last. So your baby's maybe a year and a half.
I'm still in postpartum, mind you. I'm still in PPD.
Wow. So your good friend who says, my friend needs help. You know what? Not only do you need help, sign right here as my employee. And not only do I need you to sign right here, based on what I read, you are forever. I'm telling you, I'm not making this up.
Not able to speak.
It's forever. She's forever indebted, according to the NDA, to Cora. Not only can she not speak, it says your heirs cannot speak. Did you know that Cora weaved in that clause?
I did not.
You did? Okay.
Because you have to understand also how she got me to sign the NDA.
As an employee.
I wasn't an employee. It wasn't even an employee setting. It wasn't even, it wasn't an application.
So you've never worked for Cora Jakes?
I've never worked for Cora Jakes.
Have you ever received a 1099?
I've never received a 1099.
A W-2?
I've never received a W-2.
Has she ever, can you take out the trash and here's a check?
No.
But yet she tricks you or coerces you into signing an NDA as an employee.
Everybody that day to sign. If I sign an NDA at that house, then everybody in that house, I guess, was an employee of CJC Ministries.
And you've never received the paycheck with any of that?
I ain't never received not another, and I wouldn't even accept it.
Yeah.
But we were at Cora's great 28th birthday party at her house. So even how the NDA was signed was null.
What was going on? Tell us about how did you come to sign that and how did she feel like she could?
She wanted to have a conversation amongst her friends, and she wanted that conversation to stay in the circle.
Gotcha.
So she made everybody sign NDAs.
But she did not realize that she made a technical mistake legally by
putting
saying that you were an employee.
Because that makes everybody in the room employee.
She should have said an associate.
Yeah.
So she
I'm not
was
an employee.
So it's safe to say, look, this ain't your words, it's my words. So you kind of falsified a document.
Falsified.
Which is misleading amongst a group of friends. If she would have changed that from employee to associate.
But you got to remember what she was trying to do. She was trying to create paper trail because I don't care what that lady say. She knew deep down one day I was going to wake up. I was going to realize what was going on and that I was going to fight for my baby. And she was right because I did wake up. I did realize what was going on. And I did fight for my child.
And she took you to court. 2014, the baby was born, y'all. 2015, a baby may have been a little bit over a year, give or take 6 months, okay? The year after that, you're in court, according to the documentation.
Don't forget, 2 months after my child was born, you had me sign paperwork saying that it was for Jason to trial. What she told me. Mind you, I'm dealing with a lot. My mind is not there. I'm not reading nothing. I'm just, okay, you my friend. I'm going to trust you. I should have read. That's the only accountability I'm taking. So to everybody, it's like, you're not taking accountability for the part you played. The only part that I played was not reading what I signed.
Say it for the people in the back.
The only part that I played is for not reading what I signed.
And even if you would have read, I don't think it would have been good enough. I think you would have had to have an attorney. Even if I would have read,
I wouldn't even understand.
You wouldn't have, because that was deep. I was like, even I'm pretty astute, and I'm like, oh my, I almost missed it.
Yeah,
and because I'm like looking for the date.
She weaves it in.
Yeah,
so good,
it says forever,
so effortlessly.
Forever
so
going.
I wouldn't even. Yeah, so that's the only accountability. I'm just taking accountability. I don't
think Cora's a millionaire, a gazillionaire,
no,
or a
she's
billionaire.
Not. I helped her pay her bills.
But yet,
I fed her. She tries to spin it like she helped me and my kids. No, chick, I helped you. You were married and couldn't keep your lights on.
But yet, in the court paperwork, she feels like it did state that she felt like your child would be better off.
Well, she used to tell me that.
With her.
Why? Because you have a 5-bedroom house?
And her
Why?
husband.
Because you come from money? Just because you come from money doesn't mean you have money.
And also an accused sexual abuser who was
Why?
her.
Because you stay in a better neighborhood? What makes you more qualified? You can't even produce children.
Maybe just because she's TDJakes' daughter.
Maybe because she's senile and crazy and mentally unstable.
Allegedly.
Factual.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
It is documented proof that she has had to go to
that's okay.
stays. We have audios that's already been produced that's out there in the world to hear her voicemail saying that Dr. Jill and her sister hospitalized her in the psych ward because she was going off on Amari.
This is a lot.
It's not I know you have this.
No. I'm just saying, I'm thinking of all of what you have to deal with regarding fighting for your son. See, I'm processing. I don't have children, but I'm still processing like a mother. Yeah. Fighting for your child. And then hoping that they come out unscathed. Because...
Hoping, but I know that's not... I can only imagine what she's telling my son. What she's showing him. The manipulative narrative that she's plugging into him. That is what really gives me grief, right? Because I know what type of mother I am. I don't lie to my children. I don't mislead them. I don't misguide them. I'm brutally honest with them because I am fixated on not having generational curses and breaking them with my children. My oldest child is a virgin, and she's 16, be 17, March 7th, top of her class, getting ready to graduate. She's never had sex. I am fixated on breaking teen pregnancy and my family and starting that with my children. And in order to do that, I have to have an open line of communication, and I have to have transparency. And I have to allow my children to let them know that they're safe, and not only for them to know it, but for them to feel it, right? So I'm not going to lie to them. But I know that she's not the type of mother that I am because, number one, you can't have children. You don't know the cost of carrying a child and birthing a child. You don't know the cost of everything that happens before, during, and after that.
Yeah. Well, she can't know biologically because she hasn't.
No.
And that's just not specific to Cora. That's specific to any woman. We can get close.
You can get close.
But until you really have that actual biological experience,
you'll never be able to.
There's always a piece missing that just comes natural to the process. Speaking of, you talked about your other children. Are they aware that their brother has been taken?
They are very much so aware.
How are the kids dealing with that?
Excuse me. They don't handle it well. And I think out of all of this, I'm sorry.
Take your time.
That's what really angers me. You're so damn selfish that you don't think about the kids and how it affects them.
Yeah.
Because it affects them. Because they know their brother. They've been around him. Yeah. They won't even let me forget him. When we pray, they have to include their brother. I can't tell you how many times I could just be cleaning up or just sitting in the room or doing something and maybe Cree or Jaden or even Liam. And Liam was a newborn. Mom, I miss Jason. I'm sorry. Cree deals with it the worst because they're 10 months apart in age. And they were really, really close. And it's even worse now because she let me see Jason and she let me talk to him. And in the midst of doing that, the kids play Roblox with each other and they would message each other. And then now the communication has been cut. So now I'm having to repair my children all over again. And just to tell them that I'm going to keep fighting. But they don't handle it well just like I don't handle it well. Because anything that affects me affects them. We are very close-knit. It's me and my kids, man. It's me and my kids.
You know, one time I called you and you said, actually I did. I attempted to communicate with you and you said, I can't talk. I'm cooking dinner and I'm helping my children with their homework.
Yeah. Oh, my kids come first. I love my children. I'm nothing without them.
Yeah.
They give me fight. They give me strength. They give me hope. They give me love. They give me endurance. I think if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be the person I am. They've taught me steadfastness. They taught me what it really means to love without condition. And the best thing that I could have ever done was be a mother. Yeah. That is the best thing in life.
And I'm feeling that coming from you.
I think it's because I come from a broken home. And
what does that mean to you, broken home? Because I know what it means to me, but everybody has a different meaning. What does that mean to you?
Broken home means my dad and my mom weren't together.
They were not together.
We moved around a lot. My mom had her issues. We've had our issues. We didn't have a lot. I didn't grow up with the best of the world. I didn't grow up with the silver spoon. But as I got older, I understood that my mom did the best that she could do with what she was given. That doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, no. It's neither. It's just she did the best that she could do with what she was given. And it's a lot of ways my mom handled us that I refuse to take into motherhood. And I believe that I'm also the mother that I am because of how I was raised. Yeah. And the conscientious decisions that I chose to say, I'm not going to do this with my children. And the reward of that, of how I benefited to the open relationships we have, to my oldest daughter, how she is and how we're like, that's my girl. We grew up together. I had her when I was 17. We talk about everything. And I didn't have that with my mom. I was too scared. You know, I felt like she would always like just throw the Bible at me. And sometimes you need real life. Sometimes you need that natural teaching.
Just that natural, genuine affection between a mother and a daughter.
And then I didn't have that with my mom. So I have been intentional of having that with my children. And it makes a world of a difference when you make your child feel safe. When you make them feel like even if they did something wrong, that they can still come to you and they can still talk to you and they can still get advice. And I don't talk. I let them talk. I listen to them, to hear them. I let them know that they matter. Their feelings matter. How they think matters. You matter, because when I was younger, I felt like I didn't matter. I felt like it didn't matter what I say or what I did, that it wouldn't be any understanding. So I couldn't go to her and talk, you know?
You know, I'm going to just say this. You were a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
Because I believe when I first read your story about a year ago, maybe a little bit over a year, I read it and it was like out there in the media. And I remember a friend and I getting into a debate because we're both TDJakes supporters. Both hardcore, especially me, since I was like 18 or 19. And I remember the first book that I picked up by TDJakes was called Daddy Loves His Little Girls or something like that.
Girl, that used to be my book.
That book saved my life because I was just coming off of a attempted suicide at age 18. And I was in college and I that emotional.
What year was that?
Huh?
What year was it?
I think 1996. It had to be 1996. You see what I'm saying? So that book taught me a lot about myself as a young girl. And I didn't know that God could replace the physical aspect of a father. And that book just released me to be hopeful and just to hang on. And really, I started to kind of get more curious about God because, you know, when you think about traditional, how we're brought up in the church, I was brought up to fear God. And that book gave me permission to establish a relationship. So my friend and I, we got into a debate. I was like, no woman would make this up. And to me, it doesn't matter if it's TDJakes' daughter. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And as I went deeper, there was some critics that were trying to paint a different picture of you. And talking to you, being in the room with you, communicating with you. Like I said, I'm pretty astute. It has been so nice and a breath of fresh air. And I'm like, she's none of that. But I guess you would have to try to paint that picture of her in order to
clear your conscience, to make it okay,
to justify the wrong that you've done,
to justify the wrong that you've done, to justify you wanting to keep supporting these people. I don't know. That's why I always say the truth outlives a lie.
Yeah.
I don't have to force anything, and I don't have to remember what I said because
it's the truth.
It's the truth.
My grandma used to say, baby, you don't have to practice the truth.
You don't have to practice it. I'm not gonna. It just,
when you tell a lie, you got to tell it over.
You gotta remember. When you tell a lie, you have to remember the lie that you told
and tell it over
and tell it over and over and over again. And it doesn't matter how much you tell the lie. Every time you tell it, it's gonna be a different story every time.
Yeah, and I saw that in y'all's communications. I even saw something where Cora posted on social media. I don't know how old your child was. I don't want to say his name because I haven't. Jason. I don't know how old Jason, thank you. Jason was. Oh, that feels powerful. That feels powerful. That's Jason, you pushing through, and the energy in this room, Jason was at that time.
You know, Jason was named after my oldest brother who got murdered. And she knew that and still changed his middle names.
To something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she made a post, and I'm not sure his age, that he was missing.
He was 2.
And she went on social media and said the people that I allowed to babysit him or watch him, they've basically not communicated with me for 24 hours. I'm worried about my child. What was that about?
She's senile crazy. Nah. She is. And what happened was, I got Jason for the weekend. And I noticed that she brought him with a tablet. And so I'm just like automatically, because see, this is the thing. That was in September of 2016. I just moved out of her home that June of 2016. I had already started mentally preparing myself for trying to figure out how I was going to get my son. Right? Because while staying in her home, I discovered that she kept every record of anything that she bought Jason. That's red flag.
Oh, this is before she took him by way of the court.
No, this was, before she took him. So
you happen to notice, why are you keeping receipts of everything you buy?
Why are you keeping records of every time I say that I'm going to come? This is before I moved in. Every time I said that I was going to come and I didn't. Or every time that I was supposed to come, every time that I didn't come, every time that I did come, she like kept a log.
Gotcha.
And then she made sure to inform somebody. See, now that's creating witness. She's very strategic in what she did.
It sounds like, could it be that she was being coached by somebody? Do you think she was being coached?
I think she was being coached by Galena White.
Allegedly.
I don't know, because the same way Cora got Jason is the same way Galena White got her adopted child.
Okay. Ooh.
So you okay?
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if I want to say allegedly. We
can say allegedly, just in case she wasn't.
But she was.
Allegedly. Look. So you suspect that she had another woman who may have been coaching her.
Galena White told me that after she did the exorcism on me, she told me and said, I can smile about it now because I know what the end is going to be. So don't get me wrong. It still hurts. It's still a wound that's healing. But it's just like, damn, Michelle, you couldn't see that shit. That's how I be thinking in my head sometimes. But I couldn't. Galena White told me after they did the whole spiritual ritual, She said that she saw my son in heaven sitting on God's lap with Brandon and Cora, her chocolate drop. And that's how she knew that God said that my child wasn't for me, that my child was for them. But now when we're going to court and I ask her, didn't you say, oh, I can't recollect. Okay, fast forward 6 years after court, you make a post on Jason's 6th birthday.
I saw that.
Saying exactly
what you said.
What I said, and then I commented. So you did say, because bitch, you did. You did that.
And it's documented.
Did that.
I saw that.
Documented.
I saw that.
You did that.
And wait a minute.
You did that. They did that. So I believe that that's who was coaching her and guiding her on what to do and how to manipulate the situation or the circumstance. But I also believe that's attributed to whatever Cora was telling her, because
so
she
could have been operating on limited or minimum information, Gaylena.
She could have been, but ultimately you guided her on how to take a child because
period.
You've done it. Your accuser has came out. She just hasn't came out publicly.
It's funny you say that because when you think about the foster care system, we're in the state of Texas. Mm-hmm. You can literally foster a child and adopt by way of foster care without having to pay a penny.
Cora can foster, but she can't adopt.
Why do you believe that is?
Because she's mentally unstable.
So there's a history, documented history. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Of mental health.
Yes.
So that disqualifies her.
This automatically disqualifies from being. She has been to psych wards because she has threatened suicide. Okay. When it comes to that, it takes you. So she would never ever be able to legally adopt a child.
So how did Judge Faith, whoever this is, am I remembering?
Mm-hmm.
Remembering? I remember he say, how did she feel that was okay to sign your child, to take your child?
Well, when you are a paid lawyer, also a member of the church, also a board member of the church.
Almost like similar to nepotism, just utilizing the powers that be to just.
You're going to do what you're told to do.
I don't think you stood a chance.
I didn't.
I don't think you.
From the moment I reconnected with her at that Easter, at the park for the Easter egg.
And how many months were you?
I was popping. I'm getting ready. That was in March or April. I'm popping out in May.
Yeah, because Jason was born in May and a month early.
Yeah, and I told her, when I seen her, I broke down. I told her everything that I was dealing with. I told her how I felt ashamed, how I didn't want to be pregnant. I didn't understand how I was here. I was even ashamed to go to church, right? Because I was prominent in my church. I was on the dance team. I was on the step team. I was in the drama ministry. I was in the reconciliation youth outreach team. I traveled to different countries with my church. I was like, I guess if you put the church in like a school format, I was the popular kid in church. So to come back with all these children, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
The shame?
Yeah. I understand.
And that shit, that is
I probably wouldn't have went back. I would have found me a different church because where nobody knows it but me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Literally.
Yeah. I felt very ashamed. And people take lightly that shame. Like, shame is heavy.
It can be.
Shame can be very, very heavy.
Especially in a religious organization.
Shame can be very heavy and dark.
Has anybody, not even TDJakes' inner family, anybody from the church, has anybody showed you an ounce of support, empathy?
In the church, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay.
In the church, yeah.
Because I'm like,
it's people that when I came out with my story, they came out and supported and said she's not lying because they were there. And
you were going to say that Cora Jakes said something in the hospital or the court.
Not the hospital.
Was it the court?
The court.
So what did she say in the courthouse when we talk about Cora Jakes, which is the first lady of the Potter's house? You said she said something in the courthouse. When I said, did anybody acknowledge you?
So it was Sarita, it was Cammie Gardner, which is her right-hand lady. I I would say her person that aids and abates the behavior, does her dirty work. They're really, really close. She was there, and it was my mom. So it's a witness. You can't say you didn't say it.
Because there's witnesses to bear.
Because there's witnesses to
What did she say?
I said, First Lady, I'm not lying. She did this to me. And I don't understand why she just won't give me my child. And she says, Michelle, we know you're not lying. We believe you. Bishop believes you. Sarah and the siblings believe you. We know that you're telling the truth, but we have to stand. They said we told her to give you back
Your baby.
your baby. They said they ultimately had to stand with their daughter.
Whoa. Wait.
They chose to stand behind Cora, taking a woman's child because she could not bear children, than making her do the right thing.
But she did. Hold on. I'm not making excuses. I want to be fair. I want to look at it from all angles. But she did look you in your face.
She looked me in my face
in front of your mom and everybody else, and did acknowledge your pain and say, we told her. We've tried to tell Cora, me, my husband, Sarah, to give you your child back. But at the end of the day, that's my child.
No.
And I have to support her. Is that what she said?
That's what she said. Ain't no way in hell I'm doing it. Ain't no way in hell my mama doing it. Ain't no way in hell real mothers that I know doing it.
There's a conflict of interest? Do you think it's the child, or do you think it's the what is it called? Hold on, let me think of my words, because I want to make sure the negative press and media that will come. If do you feel like
nobody knew at that time? It wasn't in the media. Nobody knew. I think what it was. Now, Cora did have a book called Faith in It. Cora did start parading my child around as hers, so it was known to the church. But for as you gotta remember, Cora wasn't a big presence back then on social media. She was just starting to build her social media.
I didn't even know TDJakes had another daughter outside of Sarah.
Sarah has always been
until I heard of your case, and that's no shade, no tea, no shade. I was not aware.
So she was not a big enough presence for
like a public figure.
Exactly.
Okay.
What it was I believe that. This is just my belief, because I cannot fathom or understand. Y'all have the power to make her do the right thing, and y'all say that y'all not gonna make her do the right thing. Instead, y'all gonna stand behind her. I can only equate that to, what does she have on y'all? What do she have on y'all that y'all will not make her do what's right? Or y'all are too worried about what her mental state would be after forcing her to give me my child back, and y'all just rather not deal with that?
It's
either way it goes, it's wrong. I'm not gonna stand behind my children and they're wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not going to do it, because then what does that make me?
But there are some that will. Can we be fair in this?
Some will.
Some will.
And that's a character flaw.
Okay, I agree.
That's a character flaw.
I agree. I really hope that somebody watching this does the right thing. And y'all know who I'm talking to. I really hope that somebody is moved by the Spirit when we talk about what we all stand for. And that's the kingdom of God. That somebody loses sleep over this and say, we got to do the right thing. And I know we've gone far enough down the road, but this is where it stops.
Yeah.
We got to do the right thing. We've worked too hard. We've changed people's lives, and we got to stand on business, even if it means you're going to be hurt, Cora, but you got to do the right thing. I couldn't imagine.
That's been my prayer.
That's been your prayer?
Y'all
That's
want me to shut
too.
up? Give my baby back. Stop giving me access to him and then taking him from me. That only angers me.
Some people will say that's very kind of her to let you see him because she don't have to. If she got him, now that she signed the paper, what do you say to that?
You're full of shit. That's not kindness. That's trauma. There's more trauma on top of the trauma I'm already dealing with by him being not here. And then there's more trauma for my children to deal with because they go from not seeing their brother, not talking to their brother for 5 years, to being able to see him and talk to him, and then not being able to see him and talk to him.
Why do you think she does that? Because I've seen
because she's done this.
Why
from
does
the
she
beginning.
do that and then
it's
she
control
stops?
Because in her mind, she really believes that Jason is her child.
I saw that. Well, I did see that. Let's talk about that a little bit. I want you to go back to when y'all met because I think you're about to share something. I did see Cora say that this has been God's will. Can I share my real
fixation?
I got to share my real thoughts now. I'm trying to be poised. But I got to keep it real for the palace. The first thing I thought is there something wrong with her?
It is.
I don't know. I'm just telling you what I was thinking. Is there something wrong with her? I feel like I'm observing a Lifetime movie. That's what went through my head. That's no judgment. I'm just saying me reading black and white, y'all. I don't care whose daughter you are. I didn't take into consideration the players. And I think a lot of people have been utilizing the players. No, let's just look at it for black and white. And you have to keep in mind, a lot of people did not see what I saw. And that's the first thing I thought as a woman. Is something wrong here? I did see her say that this was God's will. Your pain.
And she also said that she did what she did because she knew that I wanted my child.
And she said she knew you loved him and you'll never stop fighting for him because he's your mother, and that scares her.
He's my son, and that scares her.
That scares her that you won't stop fighting for him. I saw that. I read that.
She said that.
That's what made me say.
She said, I panicked because I know you want him.
And I know you love him.
And I know you love him.
And so do I.
And so do I.
And you're his mother biologically.
But I'm his mother by heart.
Yes.
Doesn't that sound crazy?
That sounds like we just recited a dark, dark poem. And we both was like, and I'm not making this up.
This is verbatim what she said.
And I
multiple times.
Yeah. And I just thought the only thing I could think is how come somebody did not interfere? And I can't help but to think that you're up against a giant. Did you try to get any attorneys? Has anybody agreed to take you on? What is the atmosphere like in the legal world?
My first attorney was Jerome Stursky, and I believe he was paid off. And he don't even practice law anymore.
Okay.
The judge that presided over the case.
Male, female,
Janine Berger.
Black, white.
White. She is not a judge anymore. She stepped down right after she adopted Jason into the Jakes family. Mary Lee Lewis, the law firm that she was under, she's no longer under that law firm anymore. So you can see, that
proclivities of something.
And after it happened, I was trying to get a 10-day letter in. I didn't know how to do the 10-day letter. I didn't know how to write up the order. So I started trying to contact lawyers. And I talked to them, and they were like, okay, yeah, we can do it. Soon as they found out who it was.
The Jakes family, TDJakes and his daughter. Well, not TDJakes and Michelle, but just under that umbrella, period.
They backed away.
They backed off.
Stop answering
Nobody
phone
wants
calls.
to touch it.
Stop responding. No, because he has a lot of weight in this city, in Dallas Fort Worth. He has a lot of weight. He has a lot of influence. He has a lot of power. Which is why I just had to come public, because for years I've been trying to fight, and for years I've been getting nowhere because I can't get a lawyer from Massachusetts or from New York. You have to be in the state. And his reach goes beyond Dallas Fort Worth. It goes into Houston.
Well, we're gonna pray today that somebody, it ain't for we war not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Spiritual forces and weakness of this dark world. Come on. Yeah. We speak where two or more gathered
together in his name, there he is in the midst.
And there's power in the midst of that. If he could use David,
he can use me
to take out. And I ain't here to take out nobody, but I'm here to advocate. And I hope somebody bigger than this could take it from here.
Absolutely.
Could take it from here.
That's my prayer. A lawyer that can't be bought. A lawyer
that can't be bought.
Is a David in the courtroom, not necessarily a Goliath, but a David. I need a David in the courtroom. I need a Solomon in the courtroom.
And I'm also hoping that the Goliath says, I don't want to be Goliath anymore.
That's my prayer too. See, I pray for them. I honestly do. Because I have to. Because my son is there.
Yeah. That's deep.
I have to.
Yeah.
Despite what you did to me.
Yeah.
Despite how you wronged me. Despite how you hurt me. Despite you taking from me. I still have to pray for you. In my most vulnerable time and state. Because Michelle today probably would have whipped your ass. You know what I'm saying? But I was too weak. I was too low. I was too not mentally there.
And you were only 24.
I was only 24. I didn't have no fight.
You didn't have enough experience, sweetheart. Let me just keep it real.
No, I didn't.
You had no idea.
I was a baby.
What you were up against.
I was a baby.
How old was Cora at that time?
Cora was 26, 27.
So y'all, but she's
But Cora has more experience doing what she's doing. You got to remember,
she had another child before that.
You got Josiah, the baby JoJo.
Who?
Josiah, the baby JoJo. You got Amari. How she got Amari? So
Jason is the third child?
Jason is the third or fourth child that she tried to take. And then it was another one after me. So what we have to understand is this is a psychological history.
And nobody has stepped in.
No.
That you know of.
No. Because her parents rather try to just give her what she wants instead of dealing with the fact that your daughter is not mentally stable and y'all need to really help her.
Do you feel like there's a profile of black women that she targets when she's coming in? What profile is that?
Struggling women, struggling mothers, women that come from not so good upbringing, women that suffer from parent relationships, motherly relationships in particular, young women or even women in their 20s who come from relationships where they don't have the best of relationships with their mother.
Would that be symbolic of Cora's relationship, in your opinion, with her mother?
Probably.
Okay. Do you ever recall her speaking kindly of her mother, affectionately?
She always speaks. Cora always spoke high of her mother.
Okay.
She didn't always speak high of her father.
Okay.
Which is why I say what I say. What does she have over you, Bishop, that you are willing to stand behind her and her wrong? Because you, Bishop, cannot say that you did not know, because when Cora came to my house, you was on speakerphone on Bluetooth and knew that she was at my house, and you told her to leave my mama's house to come to your house.
Why was he on? Who had TDJakes?
Cora had him on Bluetooth in the phone. This was the day where she made the post about not hearing from us in 24 hours.
And she comes to your house.
She comes to our house after making a post on Facebook. Well, she tried. My mama liked it. Lucretia liked it though.
I love your realness. But you know what? A mother's always going to be real about her kid. And it reminds me of the two women in the Bible where one was willing to split the baby. She did a sermon on that. Split the baby in half.
Cora did a sermon on that. And she was trying to metaphorically put it as me and her and Jason. And she titled it, "Don't Divide the Baby, Take the Baby and Run."
Okay, I'll take him and
run.
You got it. Cheers. I'll take him and run.
I'll take my baby and run. I ain't dividing shit.
Right. And so she's there in the house with TDJakes, her father, on speaker. Why did she even put him on speaker?
Well, he was on the Bluetooth in the car.
Why? Oh, whatever, for whatever reason. But you hear him, and he tells her to leave.
He said, Cora, you need to bring your A word to the house now. And she was in the car, Jaleesi was in the car, and Amari was in the car. He told her, stop, get out of there. And she left. But she only left because Brandon and Shane Gregory pulled up behind her. You know? So, yeah. It was the same day. And she lied and said that she hadn't talked to us in 24 hours. We talked to her earlier.
I saw the social media
the previous day. And then once I seen that you were trying to track... I don't even track him with you, and it's my child. You're not finna track me and my child on what we're doing.
It was 24 hours.
I don't have to call you and talk to you. This is my child.
How long did you keep him that weekend?
3 days.
Okay, so she, after 24 hours, she freaks out. She comes demanding.
She was like, y'all was supposed to come to church. No, we didn't have a set time. See, that's the thing. I still got those text messages. Well, the drop off is at the church. Okay, cool. We didn't have a set time. So for you to go and make this post and put out a national alarm.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
You know, and then you tried to, at first you was like, you're only worried about Jason, and then you go edit it, because I got both screenshots of the 2 different posts. Then you go edit it and try to make it seem like you worried about us all. No, you were never worried about us all, just like you wasn't worried about my other children. Because if I'm so unfit to be a mother to Jason, then that means I'm unfit to be a mother in totality, meaning my other children.
The medical paperwork showed a clean bill of health for both you and Jason. I did see that. That ain't me taking nobody's side. Yeah. I read the physician's orders, the lab work, the panel. There was no drugs. Because I know there was a conversation between you and Cora where you confronted her about, why did you say falsely accuse me of doing a substance? Why did you say my child
was a drug addicted baby,
and that's not true. I need to. He was of a healthy weight, 6.5, 6.9,
6 pounds 7 ounces.
I was
when
close.
He was born.
I would listen.
Because Jason was my biggest baby.
I needed to get to the facts, because I didn't just want to hear your side. I said, I want to hear the facts, and the rest, I don't care about Cora's side. I need to see what the doctor said. I need detailed documentation. And when I saw,
and that was only 3 notes out of the history of him going to
and they also established that you had psychological safety in place. We're not talking about postpartum. What we're talking about,
his home environment.
Your environment was safe for both the mother and the child. Running water, clean environment, a dwelling that's good, access to food, electricity. So I want to eliminate any myths or rumors that have been miscommunicated about this woman. Go ahead.
Very well taken care of.
Yes.
All my children are very well taken care of. Just because my mom has a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house does not mean that it's not equipped for good shelter for children. Cora even called CPS on me.
What did they
multiple times during the process of the fight. They all got ruled out, you know, but she messed up by telling me that CPS was going to investigate me and how she didn't want this and blase. And so then when I confronted her on that, like, why are you calling CPS on me? She was like, well, I didn't say that. I said, but you said that this was going to happen, which means you did it.
You foresee it happening because you're orchestrating
it. I'm not stupid. I'm not slow.
Did it happen?
It happened. The whole entire time, those 2 years that I was back and forth to court, I had multiple CPS cases because she kept calling CPS in on me.
To establish a paper trail.
She was trying to prove me unfit.
On what?
She was trying to prove me unfit.
Yeah. Okay.
And the only way you can, if you're not in the dwelling or in the home, the only way you can try to prove me unfit is calling Child Protective Services.
To do a pop-up.
And it backfired on you every time. Because I'm not unfit. I think I'm the world's greatest mom, if you ask me. It's just that on that. I'm attentive. I'm there. I show up.
You communicate well.
I communicate well with my children. I love them. I make sure that they're clean all the time. You know, I'm not saying that I'm rich, but they not going without.
Yeah. Even with Jason, I saw that at one point. Oh my gosh, this almost broke my heart. I was like, I can't read anymore.
Yeah.
Where I believe it, and correct me if I'm wrong. I believe. Let me just tell you what I really believe, because I be trying to. I was like, oh my God. It appears as if there was something sinister in place. I don't know that to be true, so I had to say appeared. By the way, the paperwork and the timelines that were established, and how nice and flexible Cora was with you until the final signing of Jason. And then things in all hell broke loose. You didn't tell me that.
I couldn't come to the house like I normally
read
would.
it. I saw the canceling of the visits. I saw that my person, with Cora telling you, this person, whoever the supervisor, this person is not available today. This person's not available. Sorry, you're not going to be able to see him until next month.
But mind you, she was already doing that low key even before.
And I wasn't even aware of that.
I would have to go leave diapers and wipes and food at her door because they wouldn't open the door for me so I can see him. Or she'll lie and say they're not at home. Or when I would come, they wouldn't answer. Or when they would answer, you will have your pit bulls, Jalecia and Rachel. See, I name names. And the reason why I name names, because everybody that had a hand in it, whether you knew then or you came into the knowledge of later, you contributed, you aided and you abated her into taking my child and doing what she did. So you don't get to go scot-free. I'm naming your name.
Because it's your
Rachel
experience.
Burnside, Jalecia Gregory. She would have them at the front door. And I always told Cora Rachel wasn't her friend. Rachel was always her opportunist. So, she would have them at the door. And I remember one time I went over there trying to see him and to drop some stuff over there off for him. And they wouldn't let me in. They would not let me in.
Was it a scheduled visit? Let's just clarify.
I shouldn't have to have a scheduled visit.
Did she know you were coming? Did you text her?
No.
Did she have legal custody of him?
No.
I got you. Okay, keep going. No, we got to clarify because people are going to be, how come you didn't ask her this?
Yeah,
how come?
Then I don't.
So at this point, there was no custody. She finna go see her kid.
Right. This is after I had moved out. And she just flipped. Like, it started getting worse and worse and worse. Because the thing about an abuser or a narcissistic person, once they got what they want from you, you're no good to them. They discard you. Right? It's like you're banned. And that's how she started treating me.
Well, I noticed that she started canceling your visit. Black and white, y'all. This is like, I'm not making up anything. When I say black and white, I'm talking about the communications between Michelle and Cora. This is nothing Michelle told me. This is what I'm reading. I started to notice that she started canceling your visits, making you wait.
Court order visits at that.
Yes, like minimum a month, if not longer. How did you keep and you had a birthday party. Planned. It was his birthday, or maybe it was his birthday.
It was Cree's birthday.
Okay, it was one of your other child's birthday.
And I was supposed to, and because of how the schedule fell,
you moved everything around.
I moved everything around, and because of how the schedule fell in May of 2018, I was supposed to have him for his birthday, and she took that from me.
I saw that.
I was supposed to have him on Mother's Day weekend, and she took that from me. I was supposed to have him for Cree's birthday weekend, and she took that from me as well. So that's what she did to me.
And let me explain what it means she took that from me. Because a lot of you may not understand how this works. You remember how we talked about the people that may have had? And you said they only knew what they knew in that moment. Well, let me give you a little bit more to go off of. In the documentation, Cora would basically say, I'm going out of town. I'm going to preach. You can't see him.
Can't see him. Although it's court ordered for me to see him.
And it was court ordered. You can't see him.
There's no supervised contact in place.
And this person isn't available. And somebody would say, how come you didn't fight? And we told you why she didn't fight. No attorney. In Dallas-Fort Worth area wants to pick this up because of the notoriety of the TDJakes name, the TDJakes brand, period. And I'm sorry, you don't have the money.
You don't have the money
to fight them.
At all.
And that's why, you guys, it's gone on this long that Cora Jakes, in my opinion, has had your child this long. You got to have the money.
Got to have them because they play a long game.
And
they drag it out.
They're going to drag you out like a coyote. See, when a coyote, when small animals go missing, it's not because a coyote just jumped and attacked your dog. What they tend to do is play with them and lure them away from the safety of their territory. And they play with them and play with them and play with them. And then they begin to chase them and they wear them down until they're exhausted. And when you have nothing else, they attack.
Absolutely.
And when I was looking, and when you say the long game, that's what that reminds me of. The long game.
The long game.
But now you got players coming in, and I can only take you so far because I'm not a huge platform. But I'm hoping that somebody...
You huge enough. You got 7 million views on your last one.
All right. Look,
you're going somewhere.
Yes. But I'm hoping somebody, somewhere... Hell, it don't even have to go that far. Maybe Bishop will say enough is enough.
I think that would be best. I think that would be best and wise. Because, you know... Civil lawsuits... is a thing, and I'm not gonna spare anybody.
Well, your child wasn't spared.
I'm not gonna spare anybody. So it would be best and wise of them to just try to come to some type of agreement with me, some type of settlement with me.
What are you looking for?
I want my child back.
Okay.
I want my child back. But you're also going to make sure that I'm okay because of the pain and the suffering and the trauma that you've caused me and my family.
And there is documented trauma. I'm sorry.
Documented trauma.
There is.
And my son is going to live as good as he has been living. Since y'all want to say y'all better. But what I'm ultimately looking for or wanting is just to have my son. But you're going to pay me for everything I'm owed.
If they came to you tomorrow and said, listen, here's what we're willing to do. Jason is going to come home with you. Can we stop there and put a period there? What would you say?
What does that mean?
We're going to reestablish Jason with you, your home, primary. What does they call it? The primary parent?
Primary parent.
We're not going to bother you. We're going to get Cora the emotional support she needs because obviously she's bonded with the child. But we're going to make sure your child is returned to you.
Make sure that he's returned. Make sure that he is saved. And make sure that he's living well.
And they said, but outside of that, we're not willing to give you anything financially. Are you okay with that?
No. We've done too much.
What if they put a trust in Jason's name? Would you be okay with that? And only a third party selected by the court.
I'm good with that.
You okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
But I ain't walking away with nothing.
Say it again.
I ain't walking away with nothing.
Yeah.
You can set my baby up. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Give me my baby back. I'm okay with that. And if you don't, then I'm coming after.
And he knows you're his mom.
Oh, he knows.
I've seen photos of y'all.
Mom.
He's very well aware.
He's very well aware that I'm his mom. He lights up every time he talks to me.
Yeah, I saw.
He smiles so big. He looks just like me.
Oh my God!
And that's what I don't understand. You gotta look at him every day and see me. I know that
whole face, and I'm a stranger.
He lights up every time he talks to me. Like when we are on FaceTime, when we were able to talk on FaceTime. He just smiles the whole time. He has one thing to say after the next. He doesn't want to get out the phone. He has a lot of questions that I try my best to answer. Some questions I'd be like, Jason, that's not for you to
Can
worry
you give us
about.
one? Take your time. If you feel comfortable, is there one question that you can remember him asking that kind of makes you like, whoa?
Like, well, like in what way?
Just like when you say he asks a lot of questions.
Oh,
Some of them
he asks. He asked me, he said that, you know, why can't you just move on like my biological father did?
He said that?
He didn't say it, but Cora made him say it. But I answered him, and it made me just be like, ugh. Because it just validated that I knew the type of narrative that she was
That sounds
spitting.
like some an adult would groom a child to say.
She's an abuser. So I said, son, there's never been a point in time in my life that I never wanted you, that I never loved you, that I didn't want to have you. Okay? And what I need you to know is I could never move on without you. I could never live without you. I could never breathe without you. I can't even exist without you. And I need for you to know that. And he looked at me and he was just like, okay, Mom. Because he's been calling me, okay, Mom. I said, I love you. He said, I love you too. You know, and I think that's the bigger part of Cora's derangedness and warpedness. Because she knows that I'm not going to lie to Jason. She knows that I'm going to be 100% honest with him. And she knows that she could never sever our bond, no matter how hard you try, no matter how long you try to keep him from me. That little boy, whether it's now or later, is always going to long to want me and to have me. Because he knows at the end of the day, regardless of what you tell him, my mother told me she never wanted to give me up. My mother told me. And not only did she tell me, I can see her fighting for me. So it's different. It's different from when you have a adopted child and they don't know who their parents are, and then they go try to find their parents, and it's just, you know, how those stories sometimes go. That's not Jason's story. That's not his story.
Wow.
That's not his story at all.
Some people, I'm glad you said it, it's different than when you have an adopted child. Some people are of the belief that that's Cora's adopted child, and that you
didn't willingly do anything.
Willingly signed over your rights. What do you say to that, to those people? Or how do you explain that? Or how
Tell me if what did I willingly do?
Some people would just see a signature.
If I was brought to a lawyer's office, Faith Johnson's office, I was sat down in a conference room at the office. I'm sitting on the other side of the table. Cora is sitting on the other side of the table. Pause right there. Before that, you sent me through a spiritual ritual. After that, you corner me in your office and tell me that if I didn't give you my son, that you would take him from me. Then you go and put me in this office with this attorney who's a member at your church. I know Faith Johnson. I've been knowing Faith Johnson all my life too as well. Who's a member at your church, who's a board member, and who is a paid legal attorney for your family. She's the one that does all your dirty work.
Who did she? So let me pause, because it's not that I believe you or I do. What does she represent the family in?
All type of legal affairs.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Because we got to be clear.
I mean, if we want to go into Saturday, but we don't have to.
Yeah.
But all types of legal affairs.
Okay. And during that time, she had
represent court. Okay. So you, as an attorney, you pull up paperwork of relinquishment of rights. You know, by law, I was supposed to have some type of representation with me there to read, so that I have an understanding of what's going on. By law, you knew that. By law, you knew that it was illegal for you to even sit me down in that conference room to do that. So,
were you staying with her then?
No. So, what was willingly done?
Why did you sign it? I gotta ask.
She made me sign it.
What did she say?
She came over there and at the thing, outside of the things leading up to that, she said that I will do it, I shall do it, I'm going to do it. Put her hand on my back.
She said what?
I will do it, I shall do it, and I'm going to do it. I didn't do anything willingly.
How come you didn't get up and walk out?
I didn't know how.
Got it.
I didn't know how.
I got it.
You got to remember, I've been around this family. I've seen things. I know things. It's a lot of stuff that I don't say. I know how y'all tie up loose ends. I know how y'all make people disappear. I'm scared.
You were scared.
Out my mind. Out of my mind. Because if I don't do what you're telling me to do, then what happens to me? What happens to my children? What happens to my family? So now I'm like, okay, I have to do it. And now in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, how do I get out of it? Without them knowing, without alerting them. And then it goes from there.
And here we are today. And recently, how long you said, listen, I'm violating that damn, fuck that gag order.
I got tired when the allegations of Brendan came out. Cause see, this is where Cora messed up. Cora should have called me.
Who?
Cora. This is where
she
messed up. She should have called me.
Should not have called you.
She should have called me.
Got you. Tell me why.
She should have reached out to me before. She should have reached out to me when the allegations was made. Because number one, why wouldn't you?
Because your son's there, and let me explain to them what's going on. Cora Jakes was married to a man that has been officially charged, formally charged for sexually abusing
her adopted daughter
in the home for a number of years, a minor girl for a number of years. Okay, he's been sentenced, right? If I'm correct, to federal prison.
I don't know.
Or whatever, state, federal. Okay. What Michelle is saying, because that occurred in your house, under your leadership, because you said my son is better off in your home than he is in mine. I saw that.
That's what she said.
In the court paper. You said,
ain't none of my kids under my roof been molested.
Thank you. And you said in the paper, and I did see that, that my son is better off. She named Brandon, and she named herself. But yet, Brandon has been found guilty of violating children sexually. You should have called me to reassure me.
To reassure me?
That my son was safe.
That he was safe?
He hadn't been touched.
To open up communication. To open up visitations. You should have tried to fix what you did. Because pride go before the fall. You didn't. It would have been wise for her to contact me because y'all wouldn't be hearing my voice today.
You think she was embarrassed? Do you think she even considered calling you?
I don't think she considered calling me.
Gotcha.
Because she feels like I have him. I've adopted him. It doesn't matter what she says or what she think. Not knowing, thinking that I didn't have a voice. That's what it was. But God uses who he wants to. You see what I'm saying? You thought you felt, and then she felt safe because of the NDA. She felt safe because of the gag order. I have no rights. You can't talk. I've silenced you.
Yeah.
Oh, she'll never say anything anyway.
And do you know, or have you heard, if that was the only child in our home that was exposed to that type of danger?
That's all I've heard.
Or did they make sure? Do you know if any of the other children may have or may not have?
I don't know.
You have no idea as a mother.
I have no idea.
None
and
whatsoever.
That's what keeps me up at night.
I got you.
I have no idea.
And she never even sent an email to say
nothing. I found out like everybody else found out.
Okay.
And that's what pissed me off. And at that present time, enough was enough. And I said, fuck this NDA, fuck this gag order. I'm talking.
And how long have you come out? Since how long
I've been talking.
No, since since
I put a name on it, May 18th, 2022. And it was Monday morning or something like that. I was getting ready to take my kids to school, and I couldn't even take them to school that day because my phone just kept blowing up. Because mind you, it's people that know. But the world just didn't know. But I was being overflooded with messages about Larry Reed's live about Brandon, and I opened them, and he says, well, we can confirm that, it was the little girl in the home. Because, see, I knew prior, I just didn't know, was it somebody in the home? Was it Amari? Was it Jason? Or was it, a kid at the church? Like, who is the child that we're speaking of?
It was a little girl. I remember reading that.
So once that was confirmation on who it was, that was it for me. I'm talking and I'm telling everything. And then I knew that I had to take the power away from them being able to retaliate any type of way. Well, guess what? I'm going to tell it all. I'm going to tell what I was going through. I'm going to tell what I went through. I'm going to tell what I was facing, what I did, what I said. And I'm just going to tell it on y'all too.
And let me just say that I want to clarify, y'all. We are talking about public information. We're not talking about sealed court documents. All of this is public information. I didn't even know you. And I was reading this in a news outlet. And I'm just reserve my peace. And I was like, I think it said 7 years that whatever had been going on in the home. And my heart broke. Because I perused social media and I saw the sadness, or what I thought appeared to be sadness in that child's eyes. And I thought, how?
You never know what's going on. And what's crazy is the audio recording of her confession. I've heard it.
Of who?
Of Amari's confession.
The little girl.
I've heard it. I've listened to it. I'm not going to go into it, but...
Gotcha.
It's just so sad. It's so... It angers me. And that's why I'm really angry that Cora didn't call. That's why when you call me. You should have called me. If she would have called me, I would have put aside all the anger and hurt that I felt over these years. I would have stood with her. I would have been behind her because I understand that my child was in the home. But you didn't call.
Not even to let me know he's okay.
Nothing. So now I'm even more angry. Now I'm even more bitter. Now I'm even more hurt because
I'm not gonna say you're bitter.
I'm not bitter, but
I'm gonna say you're a mom.
I'm a mom.
You ready to fight for your baby?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm physically, emotionally,
and don't keep that in mind. We're not talking about some woman. This is her child. So there is no right and wrong in fighting for your child. I just want to make sure we.
And it's not a child that I birthed and gave away.
Yeah,
it's a child that I carried, that I birthed, that I breastfed, that I
on took. The right one, because the doctor's report say he preferred the right breast.
The right breast.
He preferred the.
That's what he said.
I read everything because I deal with facts.
And of good health and of good weight.
Yes. He preferred the right breast.
Clean.
He said, "Wait a minute, Mama."
Yes, he was a breastfed baby. You know, and I took care of him.
Yeah.
Along with helping her take care of her daughter.
Yeah.
You know, so the minimum amount of respect you could have given me was to give me a phone call and then say, how do we make this work?
And he's okay.
And he's okay.
He's okay.
And he's okay.
You deserve to know that.
I deserve to know that.
That's right.
You didn't give me any of that.
None of that.
None of that.
And then recently.
From August of 2021 until May of 2022. You didn't give me any of that. None of that.
About his well-being.
None of that. I lost any amount of respect that I had still for Cora and her family. It was gone at that present time. Because now I got to sit and worry, did something happen to my baby? Was my baby touched? And see, what Cora doesn't understand is just because you have someone's child doesn't mean I stop mothering the child that I carried. You know what I'm saying? That's not what that means,
Nor is it how it works in most cases.
At all.
Yeah.
At all. I sleep with a picture of Jason by my bed every night. Every night. I could never forget my child. Ever. So when I'm hearing that news, it's almost as if he was with me still. And he's coming to tell me that he's been touched. Or anything to that magnitude. And I get even more angrier because all the months that had went by before I found out. And then how I found out. And then you want to keep ignoring me? Fuck y'all. At that point, it was fuck all y'all. At that point, it was, I'm not doing this no more.
Well, it's bigger than them at that point. Yeah. Now we talking about kids. On one level, you took my child.
You got me effed up behind, I'm sorry, I don't mean cussing on your show. Cool. But you got me effed up behind Jason Lamont, Caleb Brown. You got me, anybody that knows me knows how I am with about my children. You got me, I don't even think is any any type of level of passivity that I could have been on past. I don't know, but you had me effed up.
I don't blame you.
You had me effed up. And now I gotta tell it. And now I don't care about the gag order. Now I don't care about the NDA. Now I just don't care. I don't care about, because for years I've been trying to work it out behind closed doors. Yeah. I've been messaging. I've been calling. I've been telling y'all to get y'all house in order. I've been leaving comments. And you want to keep ignoring me. Like, it don't work that way. I'm not a mother who carried a child and knew that she was going to give the baby up for adoption. And y'all came and got the child on a day that I had the baby and I never got to see my baby. I'm not her. That's not my story. So you couldn't have possibly thought that was the best thing for me to do was find out from social media about a child in a home where my child is being molested or touched. Because in my eyes, if you touch the little girl, then you touch the little boy.
And there's alleged history of abuse prior to him being in that home. And not, just with the touching, you said this is where my son would be better off.
That's what you said.
That you could do it better. Yeah.
And he's not.
And he's not.
And he's not. And he's not. So it was that whirlwind of emotions going through me. And then I'm thinking, my kids ain't never, the ones that, and I done been homeless. I done lived at family members' houses. I done lived in friends' houses. My kids, under my care, under my supervision, have never been molested, raped, touched, mishandled, misguided. None of that.
Or exposed to danger.
Exposed to danger.
Yeah.
Exposed to grown men or grown women body parts. They've never, ever experienced that. So you mean to tell me you, Cora Jakes, daughter of Bishop TDJakes, telling me that my child was better off with you? And he's now in an environment of molestation, lesbianism, because let's not forget Cora is a cat licker.
Whoa, hold on now. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Give us a second. We're going to take a break.
Sorry.
So, you've done a good job to protect your children from any outside influences, any type of violation by adults,
yes,
and exposing them. I mean, and you've also done a really good job, it sounds like, from exposing them to any and all sexual preferences. Now, you was about to say something. We had to go to commercial, baby, because listen, listen. Look.
Love me a good Beyonce.
Wow. Wow.
Cora's a cat licker. Yeah, her Monet, the girl that she claims is her best
Allegedly.
friend. Well, she's going to say allegedly.
No, we all have to say allegedly.
Okay, well, we all have to, even though I have facts.
You got to say allegedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
All right.
I hate saying that word when I know for sure.
You can say I suspect. All right. So listen.
Can I say Cora told me?
You can say.
Okay.
You can share it with, but we don't
Cora
have to get
and
that
Monet
deep.
told me. Brandon too.
We can.
Lisa Owens.
Let's leave it alone.
Okay.
Listen.
Well, they were cat lickers. Cora be licking cat, and she began her cat lick by a woman.
You were saying, wait a minute. You were saying
that is true.
That you have never exposed your children to any of that.
Never.
And the least she could have done was pick up the phone
and call me.
And called you. Period, point blank.
Y'all would not, the world would not know this story if she did that. They wouldn't.
I don't think you're wrong for fighting for your son. Let me say that. Period, point blank. I don't. I believed you when I read the story. Mm-hmm. Some people are conflicted because the notoriety of the people and the players involved. I'm not. Because if we serve God, why are we serving man?
Ooh, say that again.
If we serve God, why are we serving man?
And why do you think they bigger than God?
I don't.
I'm saying you. I'm saying the people. Why do y'all think they are bigger than God?
And I find it very ironic that 2 days after talking to you, just communicating, not even talking, I don't want to give the wrong impression, that your house was ramshacked. Door kicked in, appeared to be. Yes. 2 days after communicating with you.
The door was kicked in. My room, my kids' room was completely, utterly destroyed. The window upstairs was open. Upstairs was in disarray. My iPad, my laptop, and my safe was taken.
Wait a minute. Your iPad,
my laptop.
So communication devices were taken. Ironically, 2 days after we began communications.
My safe as well. And I had a orange folder envelope with the final order. That was gone. That was taken. And inside this safe was my kids' social security cards and birth certificates and my money that
was that taken?
Yeah, because it was in the safe.
I got you.
My money that I had in there. Because after I pay my rent, I start saving back money to pay next month's rent.
I got you.
So rent and utilities. Because I'm a mom and I have to budget. I'm trying to get my daughter graduated this year. That's a whole bill in itself.
Oh, yeah.
So
they get expensive.
No, honey, yes. But it's okay. We're getting through it. So I had that in there. And nothing else. So far, we're still cleaning because that's how bad it was.
Hold on. Wait. What day of the week was your home violated?
I don't know what day of the week because I wasn't there.
Okay.
I found out Friday morning when I came home.
And you're still cleaning?
I'm still cleaning.
That's how bad it was. Whomever you are, whomever they are, tore up her house so bad to get to these communication devices.
I'm still cleaning.
She's still cleaning.
I'm still cleaning.
That sounds like somebody in a fit of rage that was looking for something.
And it's crazy because people said she did that to her own house. Why the hell? Let me tell you something. The reason why that angers me is because of how hard I work to get to where I am. I went from being homeless to living in the projects to now living in a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home that I got from my hard work. So at no point in time am I going to treat a space for me and my children. I'm just...
Don't let it anger you. You have to remember, they're not in close proximity to you. They don't feel your energy. They don't feel the power that exudes from you.
I guess it's because it's when mothers say it.
You're an easy target.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about that. I said, is there a profile that you feel like is selected? See, when you pick an easy target, nobody believes them.
Yeah.
So it comes with the picking and the profiling. People are going to say what they're going to say.
Yeah.
But you're on a mission. Keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah,
and that's Jason. Come on. You can't make this up.
That's Jason.
That's Jason.
You're right. But it did bother me when it was said because I'm such an honest person and sometimes I'm honest to a fault. But it's just because I know.
That's a Sagittarius.
I know what it's like to be lied to be gaslighted, to be mistreated, to be mishandled from friendships to relationships. And every day I strive to be a better person than I was the day before. And I am a person that I take into account of how when something is done, how it makes me feel.
Right.
And I don't want to do that to somebody else, right? So when it's done to me, I take it personal because it's like all I do is give love. All I do is give grace. All I do is show up and be there. And so when I'm being talked down on or I'm being, misrepresented, I guess it bothers me because it's like, you don't know me to say that. And then what person in their right mind, now I know it's some crazy people, but what person in their right mind would do this to their space when they've worked so hard to get to where they're at? It was over a 5-year journey for me to get there where we are right now,
They're going to talk. And they probably going to make up stuff about me too, but that's okay.
That's okay.
The main thing is the child. That's Jason. We got to keep the main thing. What are your final thoughts? What are your final thoughts when you think about if you could say anything to whomever, and if you only had 30 seconds to do it, what would you say?
Who child? What would I say? I would go back to my 10-year-old self.
And say what?
And I say that because My dad died when I was 10.
10.
And life for me changed when he died. But I would go back to her and I would tell her to love herself, to believe in herself, and that no matter what anybody does or say, that you don't waver from what you know. I feel like from 10 until probably here recently, I've always searched for love. And I'm sorry. That's why I am with how I am with my children. I would tell her that no matter what anybody does to you, and no matter what anybody says to you, keep your head up and keep fighting. I will also go back to the 24-year-old me.
What would you say?
You got this.
And you do. And you do. You got this.
I'm so sorry.
And we gonna end there. You got this.
I'm sorry.
You got this. God sees everything. You got this. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back with part 2.
Yes.
Stay tuned.